Panic to Prosperity. And so we are going to sit and chat a little bit, and we're going to have you tell us a little bit about your story and ask. I'll be asking you a few questions as we go along. And so wonderful, first of all, is the founder and CEO of Lead Her Academy. That's based in Bellevue, Washington. And it is the premier source of online education aimed at women entrepreneurs, coaches, and leaders focused on improving leadership skills and business knowledge. She's had several successful businesses, and this is your story encompasses some of the businesses that you have had in the past as well. Introduce yourself and tell the ladies a little bit about you. You want to use this one?
Hello, ladies. Oh my gosh, is this like the best thing to see each other in person? Yes. But let me tell you a little story. I hadn't driven in like a minute, and I forgot how to drive in the car. I'm like, shit. And I'm borrowing my brother's car, so I'm like, what? And I start to swerve, and I'm like, pay attention. So I'm really, really glad to be here, and I'm so glad to be with you in person. And so my name is Wonderful Morrison. It is my birth name, in case you were wondering, not my stage name. Okay. And so I have an online company, and I work mainly with female business owners. And prior to that, I was a brick and mortar owner for 25 years. We owned a gym and a martial arts school. And woo! Woo! Sue over there. Ruckus section over here. So that's my story. I am a mother of 3 adult children. I've been with my husband for 27 years. I am a proud grandmother of 2 babies and 1 on the way. I have not announced that, so you're the first because I've had some wine, so that's why you're getting it. Let me see what else is there. I think that's it for now.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I can hear you on that mic. Is it just me? It's me.
I don't know. So we're going to be talking a little bit about your story. So start us off how it all kind of began, this space of where you had to tap into that grit and resilience.
Who here is familiar with a saying, dark night of the soul? She's like, yeah. That is what the story I'm going to share with you. Like I said, my husband and I started a business when we were 22 years old, sort of by accident. Actually, it's truly divine intervention. Nothing is by accident. I don't believe that. So we have been running this business. We had borrowed money from his Uncle Larry, who's an undercover bajillionaire, but we didn't know it. No joke. He has this giant piece of land, and in the middle is this trailer. And then, so he just wasn't that guy. He had like a Ford truck from 1975 kind of thing. And one day I was crying. I was like, oh my gosh, Uncle Larry, we've gone to the banks and they just laugh us out because we're 22. I think my longest job was 3 months scooping ice cream. So who's going to lend me $30,000? And he's just like, well, honey, for what? And I tell him the whole story. He walks away and he comes back with a check. Do you guys remember those things? The checks? He comes back with a check for the full amount of what I had just mentioned. And then he looks at us and he goes, I got to pay this back in 5 years. And I was like, okay. So that's where the journey of entrepreneurship started for us in Issaquah under a tree. Thank you, Uncle Larry. And then we didn't know. We're 22. I'm in college. We don't know what we're doing, but we're just excited. You're excited. You're passionate. And we go for it. And I realized early on, we need mentors. We need people who are actually successful in business to talk to share ideas with. And we do, and we build it. We pay back that $30,000 in 5 years. We build the business to be $1 million, right? 10 years. Like, that's, oh my gosh. On paper, we're worth $1 million. And it was a brilliant time. Like we felt so elated. We were raising our children. We had purchased a couple homes. It was beautiful. And then 5 years ago today, I was talking in a conversation with a friend like this. I'm just saying, hey, blah, blah, blah. And my mind went blank. It just went, phew. And I thought, oh my God, I'm dying. I have a tumor. I have a tumor in my brain. This is not good. But I thought I was just working out real hard, you know? So I go to the doctor and they say, tiny little Indian lady who, if she was my mother, would have slapped me. Why you wait so long? Wonderful. Why? And I'm like, why? What's wrong? She says, you have a size of a grapefruit in your throat that is called your thyroid. It had enlarged that I couldn't even swallow water. It was choking me. But you couldn't see it really because, I have long hair. So I'm like, and so she said, if I'd waited 2 more weeks, I would have died from heart failure because hyperthyroid increases your heart rate. I just thought I was getting skinny because I was working out real hard. That was not the case. So I got really sick, and then we had to reassess our life. Like, what are we doing? We're almost 40. Our kids are grown. Do we keep chasing down the dollar like we always have? And then I get sick. Again, divine intervention. But at the time, don't think it's divine intervention. And so we decide to slow down. And then, that storm everybody talks about where it comes in waves of 3s. So I get sick. Then a legal action suit comes against my family in this gigantic shitstorm way. And then I'm like, Holy Mother of Jesus. And then the biggest heartbreak was my niece decided that she earned that school and that building and that business by existing, and she just took it. She just took it. Like, boop, boop, it's mine.
So had she been working for you at that time?
She'd been working with us since she was a kid. So at this point, she's 20 some years old. She'd already graduated college. And she said, Auntie, I'm going to come up. She was in school in California. She said, I'm going to come up. I'm going to help you guys. Because remember, I got sick. And this legal stuff started happening. She's like, I'm going to come up and I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. And I'm going to I love you guys. I'm going to do this. I love you guys. I just wanted to put that out there first.
So as you're sitting there, still not well.
Yeah.
And how did that feel? You think she's coming to help you, and then she ends up taking the business.
So she comes up and she lives with us because she does not get along with her parents. So she's like, so we're like, yeah, come to the house. We're gonna take care of you. And I have that gut feeling. How you have that gut feeling? I had this gut feeling about it, but I thought, no way. She's my niece. There's no way she would do this. And then one day I'm sitting in my car in front of my house in tears because I tried to go to the bank, tried to go into our building, was locked out of our bank account. Now, mind you, we'd been banking at the same place for 20 years. And the sweet poor woman, she goes, what? You didn't? She felt like she didn't know what to say because we had kept bringing her with us to the banks, right? Because she's helping. So we bring her to all the places that you see familiar people to introduce her. Like, if we're not coming in, she's coming in.
So I would imagine you're experiencing betrayal.
Oh God.
What all the emotions that you can.
So I feel like one of the things I hope that you guys are with me in this or can relate to this. Like, life can happen, right? Like your car breaks down, your dog dies, you turn into a country song. That you can handle. But betrayal from someone you love is heartbreaking. It's shattering. And I was broken. I was like, screw this. This is hard. Oh my gosh. It was tough.
Yeah. So what is that pivot point, that turning point where you're deep into it and then you're realizing you somehow have to grab that grit or that resilience and come and take yourself out of that? So what's that part of the story?
Well, and I think life is such a funny story, but it forces you because there's things that respond to that pain, right? So for me, for us, for our family, if we didn't show up, we'd lose our home, right? Because we don't have any access to money now.
And so she totally took the business, and you had no more access.
Well, we
So-
had two locations. So she took the main location that was what you would consider like a cash cow, like where all of the income was coming from, the majority of our income, we had a smaller location that could pay a little bit, but we'd never really depended on that to exist, to live, to pay for anything. So yeah, it was a real shocker because we still had the same bills. Right? So I couldn't get into the accounts. We couldn't get into the building. One night we tried to get into the building because if we took everything in the building and sold it, we could make some money. She called the police on us and got a restraining order because it was her property. The thing is, we owned the building. So we had it. What are you going to do? You can't take me to court. I own this place.
Yeah.
Right? But she got a restraining order instead that we couldn't be within this distance. None of it was pre-framed. Like there wasn't like we fought prior to. There was none of that. It was just like one day sunny, one day it snowed, like that. It's like that. It was really heartbreaking.
So how did you come out of this? I mean, did it ever get resolved? That's the next part of the story.
Well, so to take her to civil court, because we had already been in the process of writing the papers over to her, there were already signed documents with her name on it. Because we were in the process of that, right? So to take her to court, it'd be a civil matter, and then it would cost us more money. And then we don't know if we're going to get it because we have to prove that she took it, right?
Mm.
And so it was a really smart move on her part. Kind of like that Tinder swindler, right? So it was really how I dealt with it in the first year was alcohol, was cigarettes, which I don't do. You just try to figure out how to deal with the emotion, the pain. So I sought therapy. I wanted people to hypnotize me. Like I was in it to win it. I tapped my face. I wanted to not feel the pain. And at one time I went to this networking event, and somebody was tapping, they're like, okay, just mimic me and tell me what you want to say. I'm tapping, and all of a sudden I burst out and like that. And there's all these people, and like, I ran. I got up and I freaking ran because I didn't realize how tapping is a thing.
Yeah, it probably released a lot of emotion that you had been holding inside.
Yes. And then I had somebody sing to me like angels. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, angel singing. Oh my God. I knew alcohol wasn't solving the solution. So I had to find another way. And so I hunted down every way I could. And then, so let me now move on to the real truth of getting out of it. So when I was in that heartbreak, I didn't want to get out because it was so painful. Again, divine intervention brings things and people to you in situations where I just did not want to make new friends. I'm in my 40s. I'm over it. Like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to make friends. And plus I was like drinking heavily. So, you just add all together. And then Melissa shows up out of nowhere. That one right over there. So I get this message on Facebook. Hey, my name's Melissa. I think you're cool. Can we talk? Who does that? Right? Exactly those words. I think you're cool. Let's talk. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I said, oh, okay. I'll talk. right? I'm thinking, honestly, I don't even know. I was probably drinking at the time. And so we get on the phone, and she's just like, I just moved here from California. What is wonderful, really? She's just talking my ear off. And I'm like, what do you want? I don't say that, I'm thinking it, right? And so we're just talking, and then we get off the phone, and I'm kind of like, all right, that's cool. Then she won't let up. She keeps messaging me, hey, do you want to go to this thing? No. Hey, do you want to do this thing? No. Why? Why? There's like 4 bajillion people online. Why do you keep asking me to go? Right? And so finally she says, so I decided I'm going to start a group because I'm new here and I want to meet people. I want to start a group, and it's in, where is it at again? Mukilteo. Never been. I've lived in Washington my whole life. Never made it to Edmonds, ever. So she's like, it's in this place called Mukilteo. I can't even remember. Edmonds.
Yeah.
And I was like, where is that? She's like, here's the address. I get myself dressed and I go, and I'm reluctant the whole way. And I'm kind of angry the whole way. I'm like, oh, I don't want to go. I just want to be angry. I want to seethe in my pity party, because I'm heartbroken. And I get there, and she's wearing these pleather pants and these pink lipsticks. And I'm in this. I am in this. And there's 30 people there. Kari's there. You're there. Like, all these people are there. And she's like, it's called speed dating. Speed networking. So you're going to talk to a bunch of people for 1 minute all night. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I need one. So I go from this painful place, and again, divine intervention, right? And I don't recognize it at the time. I don't recognize that God's working his way into my life through people, because that's how he works. And so I keep going to her things. And I drive, then I get familiar with Lake Stevens. Holy, that's far. Right? So I get to do all these things. But where the real pivot is her and this other beautiful friend named Renata decide that they're going to kidnap me on this island called Port Orchard. And I say no initially. Initially, I'm like, I'm good. Thank you so much. I'm okay. And then Melissa goes, so I'm going to pick you up on Friday at this time. And I'm like, this woman will not. She just is not going to let it go. So I am freaked out because I don't know where Port Orchard is. I don't know anybody who's going except for Melissa and Renata, who I just met 2 months prior to. And I'm heartbroken. So I guess I'm going into the woods.
So here you are going through these things, and this little angel over here comes and picks you up and gets you back into
community.
Yes.
Community. I realize now that when you're going through the dark night of the soul, it's still really important to connect to people, whether you want to or not, because you can be in your own internal hell, right? And then you add things like substance, it just makes it darker. So it really was, again, I didn't know at the time. So we go to this Port Orchard thing, and there's 10 ladies. I have not met a single one of them. I don't even know their names, right? Kari's there. We're just sitting in there. And then Renata says, by the way, we're going to share deep stuff with each other. I don't know you. I don't know why this is happening. And I didn't drive. So immediately I go into panic. And I'm thinking, where's the door? How did I get here? What's the road like? Oh my, I'm panicking.
So in your story, because it's called Panic to Prosperity. So is this the panic piece?
Yes. So I'm panicking, and everybody proceeds. The first lady, so I'm thinking in my head, I have a story to tell. Like, I have a story, that story, the story that's safe. So I'm thinking it, I'm processing it. This is my safe story. The first lady shares, it's deep. It is deep, deep, deep. And I'm like, oh my God, it's one of those nights. And and there's no alcohol involved, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I think maybe it's just her. Maybe it's a fluke. Maybe it's just her. Maybe the other one will be easy. Oh no. The next one, deep. Like she starts with, I've never told anyone this before.
Oh, dear.
Unbelievable. So I'm fifth in line and I'm panicking. I'm like, oh, I just want to like disappear. And at the time, I hadn't really, coaching was a thing I had started. I didn't know coaching existed. I thought it was, I just knew life coaching. I'm not a real, I'll be honest, life coaching is not my jam because I have a tendency to listen to solve problems, not to have empathy. And as a life coach, you need empathy for people. And I have empathy, just not when you're telling me about your problem, because I'm looking for a solution. And so that wasn't for me, Avi. So I got into business coaching, which is so much more my jam because it's very systemized, it's logistic, it's tactical, it's planning systems. So, anyways, back to the Port Orchard story. So it gets to me, and I'm like sweating because I know I got to tell the story. So I start like this. Kari was there. I was like, and I look at the floor, and shit just comes out of my mouth. It just, and then I just start crying. And I look up and I think, if they look at me with judgment, I will fucking run out of this place so fast. And because that's what I'm thinking, because I'm hurt. So I look up and I see their faces, and Renata makes a beeline to me and she hugs me so hard, like the warm sunshine. I couldn't believe it. I thought, it's okay. Everybody has a dark night of the soul. And so I walked away from my kidnapping of Port Orchard feeling completely loved. And I had a moment with God on the way home. And I said, all right, I'm done doing it my way. I'm going to try your way. And let's see what that looks like. And that's what brought me here. That's what brings me to all of you. That's what connects me back to my human soul. I have tapered down on my drinking. I no longer smoke cigarettes. I just feel this is so important, this connection. Do we all sell a product and a service? Abso-freaking-lutely. But that is not what we're about. We're about connection. We're about courage. We're about making choices for each other. We have to have each other's back, right? Because people will break you. There's some fucked up people out there that want to break you, and we have to have each other. The people who are behind you, beside you.
Wonderful. What an amazing story. And just to end with that connection here and with these beautiful women here joining us tonight, is there anything, any last words you would like to leave them with? Yes. Any last any hope you would like? Let me rephrase. It's been a long time since I've done this. We have done a few bloopers along the way. No, what's the hope that you would like to leave everyone with?
What I'll say is, now that we're out of isolation, say yes to everything. Say yes to everything. Because we're in this space in the world where the trust factor is down below zero. We're like on DEFCON 4 of like, what did you say? Right? People in power are shitty right now. So we don't trust each other. And then psychologically, heroes wear a mask over their eyes, bandits wear masks over their mouths. So it adds to our psychological idea of we're in this bad situation. So we have to just now say yes to each other. You want to do this? Yes. Don't even ask details. Just do it. Because then if you don't like it, you can leave. Who's keeping you?
Right? Unless you didn't drive.
Unless you didn't, don't do that. Drive by yourself everywhere. Say yes to everything. And I highly recommend, my beautiful friend over there, right there. Rayanne, yes. I was trying to call you Renata, but I'm like, that's not her name. It's not her. Rayanne, karaoke is the medicine of the soul. Okay, right? So even if you're like, I don't sing, so what? Right. Just sing, dance, do all the fun things. I mean, shit's still happening. We're still, we're still not in a great place. We're still dealing with whatever. But like, go do things that really bring you joy. My friend over there, she's having a fundraiser dance party in Kirkland, May something. May, yes, Kari. Dance party, karaoke. What else is happening? Who else has got something going? Garden parties. Oh, Peru. They have different kinds of alcohol over there. Right? I think we really need to just say yes to a lot of fun things because we've been in positions of being isolated and sad and I think panic hit me before COVID did. And then my prosperity now, that's why I call it panic to prosperity. Because although I survived, although I was able to pay my bills, I kept my house, I sold a couple cars, whatever. Just I went through my closet and got rid of a bunch of stuff. So you'll see me wearing the same 3 outfits to events now. But that doesn't really matter because ultimately at the end of the day, my prosperity is this connection. We need each other. We're not species meant to be alone and separated. We are meant to be together. So this is prosperity.
Awesome. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing your story with us. So while we have her up here, Deanna, do you have the baskets? So you can turn it off.
Ooh, winner.